Everybody, welcome. You're hanging out with Ben. This is the Hardcore Punk Project here on the X, 92.5 FM in Kamloops. Today we have another special guest. If you're a Guitar Hero guy like me, you might recognize these guys. This is Atreyu. Atreyu is an American metalcore band from Yorba Linda, California, formed in 1998. The band currently consists of Brandon Soller, Dan Jacobs, Travis Miguel, Porter McKnight, who we have right here,
Hi.
and Kyle Rosa. Now I'm interviewing Mark about the new album Baptize. It's set to release in at least a week or so,
Give or
and
take.
it's going to be out on Spine Farm Records with 15 awesome tracks.
That is a fact.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me. Are you alright with the teen interviewing you?
Yeah, sure, bud.
Alright. Now, I'd love to talk about each song, but we've only got 20 minutes according to Looter, so let's talk about 5 songs that I picked.
If we go over, it's quite all right with me.
Alright. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Alright. The first song that I picked was the title track, Baptize. I was not disappointed. What would you like to share about this song?
I love how factual you are. It's a song that we wrote early on in the process, and it's one of those that really stuck with us. And as you're going along, sometimes you have like a premeditated idea of an album title, sometimes you don't. And this one, me being in one of the main artists and brains behind all of our album artwork, I'm always looking for the title first so I could start that ball rolling. And once we finished the song and we were in the heart of it, we're like, what if we name it Baptize? We're like, okay, that's a good idea. Not bad. Let's see where we go. So this one's kind of been, put at the top of the board in my brain for a while because I thought it could be the album title.
All right, there we go. That's very interesting. I wasn't expecting you to be at the forefront of the band like most players. At the forefront of the band like a lot of. I don't know what to say, but.
You mean as far as the art goes?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, I do all the art. I either hire the artist and art direct them, or I do it all myself.
All right, that's very interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Another thing that's interesting I found is that you're influenced by Johnny Cash. Okay. I'm gonna have to. I'm probably gonna end up censoring that.
Oh, it's just come on. No, it's Johnny Cash. You can't Google Johnny Cash without seeing that image. And I've had that mouse pad probably. How old are you? Almost your entire life.
14.
Yeah, I've had it for longer than you've been alive. But that's pretty fun. Yes, I love Johnny Cash. I grew up in Southern Alabama, deeply ingrained and enriched in the country music world. So I do love Johnny Cash, yes.
All right. Yeah, I kind of found that hard to believe at first. Very conflicting styles here, but again, the bass is bass.
Yeah, but see, you don't listen to only metal if you're in a metal band or a punk band or anything. And I think that's what's made our band so strong over the years is our vast array of influences. Because we all listen to a lot of bands that are through a common thread, but overall, we go all over the spectrum.
Yeah. Yeah, bass is bass, like I said. I've listened to a ton of artists that wouldn't be considered rock, like Willie Nelson, for example.
Also one of my favorites.
Then the bass plays a huge part in it.
For sure.
Like, if you listen to the bass track of On the Road again, you won't be disappointed.
You will not, no. And I always feel like, it is a very underrated instrument, but if you pulled the instrument out of any song that people like, it would sound horrible.
Yeah. That's not what I've found from listening to a ton of different songs.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Now, how did Johnny Cash influence you?
I just melody and feeling and honesty of lyric,
All right. Is the Music Man Stingray your main bass?
It is. It's the only bass I play, besides the fact that I just had a new Taylor acoustic delivered yesterday. Thank you to Taylor. I play exclusively Ernie Ball The actually only 2 times I've ever not played Ernie Ball for any reason. One was in a band before I was in Atreyu, and I broke it within one song on the stage, literally snapped the neck. And then the other one, the guys played ESP back in 2004, and they were like, "Hey, try this ESP bass we have." I'm like, "I love Ernie Ball." They're like, "Just try it." I'm like, "Okay," and I snapped the headstock in one song. So I'm just gonna stick with Ernie Ball. I think we have a good relationship.
Yeah, I just noticed this on this
There you
back of
go.
this base package. Look at that. Look what that says. Look what that says. Where is it?
Well, it's a lot of text, but I think my name's on there.
Your name is on the back of this. That can't be a coincidence that you're an early. Are you like endorsed by Ernie Ball or something?
I am, yes. They've been very kind to me over the years. I saved up in college to get my first one, and ever since then, I've been given a few, and it's a treat, man. They're honestly the best company I've ever worked with, and I'm not just saying that. They're wonderful people.
All right.
They even got me hooked up with Taylor guitars because they don't make acoustics, so
yeah,
they care that much.
All right. And speaking of that, I got my own right here.
Oh, I saw it.
It's the same color as I saw with one of yours. A very nice.
That's the same one that I bought. The same one I bought in 2001 in college.
Oh, very interesting.
That same one.
I got that one a month or two ago.
Is that the new version, the 2018 model?
It's the Sterling sub series.
Nice. Sterlings are great. Yeah. The Ernie Ball made, this isn't a bass podcast, I don't think, but Ernie Ball redid their Stingrays in 2018, I believe. And it's a lot lighter, and the dynamics in the pickups and everything sounds so good. You don't even have to change anything in it anymore. It's great.
Yeah, that's very nice. I might check that out.
Treat yourself.
Now, if Ernie Ball makes signature basses, would you ever play a 12-string bass?
No.
Why not?
The honest truth, I just wouldn't want to. 4 strings is fine, man. Like I personally don't need to go further than that in what I do, especially with Atreyu. Like, we have 2 guys that know how to melt the necks on their guitars. And if I came in here with a 12-string bass trying to come in and play all these noodly parts, it just wouldn't match who we are as a band, you know? And also I sing a lot now, so I wouldn't be able to do any of that and sing at the same time. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. 12-string basses are great, though. They got great harmonious feel.
I'm gonna have to take your word on it, man. I don't even know. Yeah. I don't even know how I'd wrap my hands around the neck of that thing. Like, what do you do? Like,
the neck isn't too big. It's just one group of strings grouped into 3, like a 12-string guitar.
I would probably get lost. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I can try it. I'll try it one day. If I ever see one, I'll think of you and I'll pick it up and give it a shot and try it.
Yes. Or would you triple that up and play the only 36-string bass in existence?
Yes, that I would play.
It's basically the size. It's the size of a table.
You have to play it by poking at it.
No, you can hold it like a normal bass, but it's at least the size of a table, so it's very difficult to play.
I can only imagine. I need to YouTube that later. I'm guessing it's on there.
Yes, it is. Okay. All right, moving on from bass stuff, because we're both bass nerds. We have the next song, which I quote, "Save Us."
Yep.
And I quote this line from it: "The whole damn world is ending, but they're pretending that everything is all right."
Yep.
Especially, well, today, truer words could never be said, especially with COVID, global warming, and all that crap. So, if people would simply respect one another and the planet, life would be good. And are we simply running out of patience with each other? Do we need to stop abusing our environment? What are your thoughts on the matter?
You're not wrong at all. That song, since we wrote it, the world is we wrote that song in, I believe, January of 2020. Before COVID, before the riots, before political elections, before all of this stuff. And as time went on, there were so many moments where I was just like, why can't this be out now? Like, this is a perfect anthem for this. And then a month passes. I'm like, even better now. Like, so many things just kept happening and happening. That song, is something that like the chorus and the melody, the lyrics and the melody, I should say, popped into my brain during meditation one day before the studio. Like I really wanted to come in with a song, and I really wanted to come in with a song that was kind of an uplifting sort of anthem for you to dig inside and figure out your place in this existence, right? And that's kind of what the whole pandemic situation turned into, is it kind of cut us off from all these distractions in our existence and took us away from the things that we constantly were, let's say, distracting ourselves from and with from our own existence, right? So I
Yeah.
want it gave us a time to look inward and figure out like no one else is going to save you. You got to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that kind of then turned into the theme of the album. Like In Our Wake, our previous record, was more of about the external world and how you can affect it, right? And what you can do on a daily basis to uplift and inspire, or be, I'll bleep myself for you, like a terrible human being and bring people down, right? You have that choice every day, whether it's just to help someone open a door or to whatever, it's just a simple smile, whatever. So that was the basis of the last record. And the whole of Baptize in the majority is turning inward and about that inward growth, because you're not wrong. If we connect and be the best versions of ourselves and figure out how to be the best, stand on our own 2 feet and be the best version of ourselves, everything gets better. If you're nice to people, everything gets better. And yes, you're right. We are treating the world like a dumpster and we need to stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
I
plenty of
think.
ways we can do that, but I don't know if we have enough time to go down that road.
All right. Now, COVID was kind of a wake-up call, in my opinion. Nature was making a comeback while we were in quarantine. Then we get a vaccine boom, and then we get back to businesses messing up the planet. Should we have mandatory shutdowns to give the environment a break?
That's a good question.
Hmm.
I have never thought about that. I don't know about, you're Canadian, correct?
Yes, I am.
I, in a more, how do I say this without offending any of my fellow countrymen?
Yeah.
In a more civilized country, I would say that's not a bad idea. America is founded on the basis of screw you, dad, I'm moving across the ocean. And so everyone feels like they have the right to do everything they want all the time with no respect to themselves or nature or the environment or anything around them, right? So I don't think that would work in our country. And I think that we would just have a civil war instantly. Do I think
Yeah.
that's a good idea? And do I think it was a good thing to have this reset over the last year? Yes. Do I wish, all the death and sickness and horrors that have happened from it? No. But if you're talking just like, hey, everybody, this weekend, let's all just stay in. Let's not drive. Let's bike somewhere if you have to. Let's take care of it. Let's pick up trash. Then I'm be like, yeah, dude, let's do it.
All right. Yes, but in Canada, it would be like, hey, let's do it.
Hey, I'm sorry, planet.
Yeah. Yeah, that would pretty much what it is.
I
I don't
do love
honestly.
Canada. Much respect to your country for real.
All right. Now, the next song is underrated. When I heard this for the first time, I was like, Porter, maybe you should calm down a little bit. Because your screaming is so aggressive that it's literally distorting the recording.
Yeah.
Alright, now, on the completely opposite topic of that, I have to ask, have you done any clean vocals with Atreyu?
Yes. Um, I have. And I do on this record. I do a lot of harmonies and melodies. On the first song, Strange Powers of Prophecy, I do some clean singing. The only issue is Brandon's voice is too good. So when we were writing this record and we were figuring out whose parts are going to go where and who was going to sing what, I had a lot of parts that I tried. And then we would let, free of ego, because we just want the best sounding song. Brandon would do the take, and I'd be like, yours is better. So it's just hard, But yes, I do have some singing parts. Yes, I think eventually, as more time goes on with this lineup, I will have my own clean singing parts instead of just predominantly yelling.
Yes.
So we'll see. Time will tell.
Okay. Now, a couple more philosophical questions, I assume.
Bring it on.
Do you think destiny is predetermined, or do we control our own?
Look at you at 14 asking the big questions. Um, I don't know. That's a tough one, man. I don't necessarily. I don't necessarily think that there's one track or one trolley car that we're riding and it's all predetermined till the end.
All right.
I do believe that we can, within reason, create our own reality and our own existence based on particularly the way you digest and think about the world around you.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you see existence changes your reality and to see more of the good or the bad, the whatever, how it may be, you know? In the most basic way I can answer that, yes. So do I believe in fate, in destiny? I think that there potentially could be milestones. Like maybe I was always supposed to join Atreyu in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
The way I went about it could have maybe been a different ways. But you know, maybe I'm destined in 2022 to become a multi-billionaire. I don't know. Maybe this is all just a path to that. So it's a tough question, and it's not something that I think that anyone in existence could definitively be like, yeah.
All right.
Especially if you're not one that prescribes to a particular religion, right? Because there were those religions, they give you, in quote unquote, a guidebook of how things exist. And I do not.
Yeah. Okay, on another side note, I bet you if you had hair, you'd look like redhead Gandalf.
I do have hair. Thank you very much. There's a big beard coming off the south side of my head.
Yes, I know. If you had head hair and it was a bit longer, you'd probably look like redhead Gandalf.
I do have a wizard staff that I found in Mississippi River Driftwood in New Orleans. I was gifted to by an oracle, so that you could say I'm Gandalf. I do get called that often. Just give me the right hat and you'll be fine.
Yeah, it sounds a lot better than what I had in mind before.
What's that?
He's an ex-member of ZZ Top who shaved their head.
Okay, that'll do. I've never had that yelled at me from a car ever.
Yeah, I just came up with that.
Well done.
Okay, and the second question is deja vu. Has this ever happened to you before?
Often. That's the sign of you're on the right path. You're on the right track, and what you're doing is a good thing. That's my definition of it. That's my chosen.
All right. Okay. Next song is Broken Again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the contrast here between Brandon and you is pretty nice.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. And that E minor chord, there's a lot of E minor chords in this song, and I always thought that the E is the go-to chord for happy sounding riffs. Now, do you think that you hit the mark with this as an epic sounding song?
I do. I think that is a good song. I think that for some reason in my brain, that is on the low end of the totem pole in my brain, in my like view of the album. And then I listen to it and I'm like, oh no, this song rips. Okay. As far as E minor, man, I don't think I could tell you. I hear things that sound cool.
Yeah.
That's how I digest music. I mean, if I could figure out the notes and I could figure out what it is, but you couldn't play me a note and I'll be like, yeah, E minor or whatever. I couldn't do it.
Exactly. Don't look at everything from a theory point.
Exactly. I think, it doesn't hurt. And it probably wouldn't hurt me to know that, but
yes, I know basic chords, but that's about it.
Nice. Yeah, I remember on going in to record Lead Sails, which was my second album with the band, I really wanted to shine and impress, right? So I went and took bass lessons from a guy, and we sat down and he's like, what do you want to learn? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, well, show me what you got, or like let's play some songs. And so I play. He's like, I don't understand what you want me to teach you, man. I'm like, I want to be able to communicate like a musician. Like I want to be able to talk to my band and know how to like describe, know all the notes, know how to talk about it. And he's like, okay, cool. So we worked for a few months. We go into writing that album, and I start talking like that, and everyone just stares at me cross-eyed. I'm like, okay, yeah, fourth fret to seventh fret to open, cool. Like we just don't think like that, you know.
Yep.
At least not out loud amongst each other. I know Dan and Travis are much more intelligent about that stuff,
Yeah.
but I don't. We even still don't talk like that.
Yeah. Now, since you mentioned this earlier, how involved in the writing process are you?
I think that has grown and shifted over the years. Like when I joined, and once again in 2004, I kind of stepped into this band as like, okay, we got two singers. You write a lot of the lyrics, all right. We have these two really good guitar players. They're really, really excellent songwriters. All right. Well, I'll just kind of fill in the gaps and help uplift and, make the songs that they're working on the best they could be. And then over time, I put my mark, my stamp. Um, and I think with In Our Wake, we kind of shifted in a way due to working with John Feldman for a second time. And his style, In Our Wake and Baptize, I'll say I can say that for both of these records. He he developed from what when we worked with him in on Lead Sales in 2007 to a more like in the moment, what's your message style of songwriting, that melody is king and purpose and point of the song. And I personally, yes, I can sit in a room by myself with the guitar and write a riff and record it and show it to the guys, and then we build something. Or I do the whole song, figure it all out. But that's like swimming upstream for me. Where I shine is I shine with coming up with a theme, coming up with a melody, and presenting it to those that are better songwriters than I am, because they might not have seen existence the way I see it, right? So what I bring to the table sparks something in their mind that then sparks something in Dan's mind if I gave it to Brandon and then give it to Travis, and then we all just kind of build and come off of that, that initial spark and that initial inspiration. So like I said with Feldman, he kind of is just like, all right, what are we doing today, guys? What do you want to write about now? You know? And I know the first time I actually spoke up in that way, we were about 5 songs deep on In Our Wake, and Feldman asked that question, and the room was just crickets. And I look around, I'm like, no one has anything? None of these guys? Okay, I got something. And like, it's that horrible school moment where the whole classroom turns to you. And I was like, I want to write a song about like who we leave in our wake and how we affect the world around us and how our choices, et cetera. Like I said to you earlier, right? And they're like, that's cool. And so, you got any lyrics? I'm like, yeah, I do actually. And so I give them the chorus lyrics I had, or I don't remember exactly where the lyrics were. And then Brandon starts writing something and we build a song off of that. And I kind of, after that day, I was like, oh, like I can be a much bigger help to this band than I thought. So I helped on a few more songs on that record. And then Save Us, for instance, Catastrophe, for instance, on this album were all like melodies that I had pop in my brain and lyrics. And, I definitely feel like I stepped up from just that, like, oh, I'm just going to help everyone be better at what they do or help guide others, to like bringing my own really important aspects to the table over the years, especially now with singing. That's a whole nother conversation we could have.
All right. Now, music can affect people in a lot of ways, just like the weather affects bugs.
Fact. Good one.
Do you consider that during your writing and recording process?
I think that's always in the back of your mind. We're not going to write songs in particular for that. Like I said, with Feldman, you kind of come with a point of a song, right? So for a simple example, we want to write a song about how we kind of feel like we're underrated over the years. We've been around a long time. We've seen a lot of bands rise above us and fall behind us, but we've never, necessarily risen to the massive, massive top. So that was like an easy example, but like the song Stay, for instance, that song is written about a very, very horrifying event in someone's life that is close to us. And it is a story that we wanted to honor and do justice to. And just because of the nature of our starting point, it's gonna bring a tear to your eye and make your heart beat a little bit faster, or you know what I mean. You're gonna want to call your loved one after that song. So I think we've always kind of, just with who we are as musicians and artists, always struck a chord in songs over the years that made people choke up a bit, like The Theft, like Remembrance Ballad, Terrified. Like we have lots of songs. Superhero. It's kind of ingrained in our music that you're gonna feel something, and I think that's what I love about our albums is it takes you on a journey, not only audibly in a different styles that we bring, but also emotionally in the way and the content of our lyrics and just the way the songs make you feel.
All right. Now, is this album like a comfort food, or is it more like a double espresso and then a Red Bull and then edibles for the calm down?
What a combo. Uh, it's neither. I think it's a good hearty meal that not only makes you full and makes you feel content, like you don't even want dessert after it. You're like, this was so good, I don't even need anything else. And then your body just really treats you well after that too, and you are like much stronger and smarter and faster after it.
All right.
It's a well balanced diet.
Mhm. And the final song I picked, oh, I don't think it's the final song, but what the next song I picked is Catastrophe.
Yeah.
The keyboard intro sounds like the keyboard intro, and then the entire rest of the song sounds like Doom music. Yes, for those of you who don't know, Doom was an arcade game from the 90s recently remade.
I played the original one in the 90s. Yes.
Mhm. I bet you if they make another full game and not an add-on, I bet you that they'll be asking to use this song. Will you give them permission to use it?
Yeah, that's a no brainer. That's an absolute no brainer.
Yeah, I
I mean,
think it
I
fits.
play video games all the time, and I have since I was a kid. And I would be honored for Doom to use one of our songs. And you're not wrong. That
Yeah.
especially that intro, you nailed it. I never thought about it that way. I always alluded or connected it more with more of like a weird Rammstein sound, but I like yours better.
Yeah, all right. Now, I saw a video from 12 years ago about you visiting some kind of comic store.
Hmm.
Since you also seem to be a comic book nerd as well, if you were portrayed in a comic book, would you be the hero, the villain, or the sidekick on either side that appears for one page, does all the work, and doesn't get any credit?
I was gonna say the hero, but then that last one seems pretty appropriate. No, I do love comics. I don't buy them as often as I used to. I just I was spending too much money, and I just love the art. So I have a lot of more graphic novels and things, but that wasn't your question. Sorry.
Yeah.
I would probably be a little bit of the hero and a little bit of the guy that does a lot more than anyone thinks and saves the day more than anyone thinks, and
Doesn't get any
helps
credit.
and doesn't, yeah, don't nearly get as much credit as I should.
Okay.
And I'm okay with
Now,
that.
mhm. Okay. Now, how about a science question? Do you think exploring space is it in our nature to be curious, or are we just looking for new resources to exploit for profit?
Well, I think it's in our nature to be curious, and I think also some people's visions, they want to exploit things. Yes. Uh, I don't know if you listen to Elon Musk talk about it. We have no choice but to get off this planet. But I hope that we can save this one before that happens.
I hope so. Okay.
I just think space is cool, though. Who doesn't want to go out there and see what's up?
Of course.
Like, there's no way we're the only living things in existence. Even if space is a construct of our own mind and we're in a matrix simulation, I mean, there's got to be something else out there.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Now the actual song that I finished. The actual last song that I picked. Effed up.
Nice one.
I can finally hear the bass in the verses. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Also, are we really all screwed? Does the song reflect any of the following? The pandemic, conflict, and the terrible people doing unspeakable things?
It was not pandemic related because it was written before that. Um,
Is it about the other two?
I mean, it has a little bit about that. Yeah, like every one of us, maybe you less because you're a little bit younger and you haven't had a chance to be. We're all messed up, whether you believe it or not. Like whether you think you're Mr. or Miss Perfect, whatever. Like you all need therapy. We all have things. We all have demons. We all have things that are going wrong. And if you say anything otherwise, you're pretending.
All right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Have you always played bass?
Um, Not since like the womb or anything, but eighth grade, I learned how to play bass. I was at a like New Year's sort of thing with my friends, and my friend and his little brother and his dad were actually playing into the new year, and they were just playing some cover songs and some originals. And they had one song they needed a bassist for, and I was like, they asked if I would do it. I'm like, I don't know how to play bass. They're like, it's fine, it's easy. I'm like, okay. And it was a song by Bush, if you know that band, called Little
Oh, of
Things.
course I know Bush.
Yeah, it's a song called Little Things. It's four chords the
Uh,
whole time, super easy, but that's how I started playing bass.
mhm. Yeah, I think my favorite Bush song is Machine Head.
That's an excellent song.
I think it also inspired the band of the same name. Because
Did
there's a
it?
Yeah, I think there's a metal band called Machine Head, but I'm not
There
certain
is.
if they were inspired by the Bush song.
I don't either, but that would be cool.
Mhm. All right. Have you never picked up a guitar or something like the ones I have over here?
I have picked up guitars plenty of times. I have a Gibson SG, like the Gothic edition, that I play often. I have a Martin acoustic that I've written a bunch of songs for Atreyu on. Um, yeah, I do play guitar. Not well, but I play it enough to, write some songs and get some feeling out. If that makes sense.
All right.
Express myself is a better way to say that.
Yeah. Okay. Have you ever sat down in front of a piano or a keyboard or some drums?
What was that last word? Troms?
I said drums, but
Okay, sorry.
it sounded more
Uh,
like a T.
that's the German word for dreams. I was like, what are you saying? Uh, so yes, I've sat down in front of a piano many times. Um, Once again, I don't play that well or anything, but I do like it. We have a really old piano that's been in my family for a very long time. That's in our living room, so I sit down to play that one from time to time. Yeah, it needs some tuning, though. I'll tell you what.
All right, I believe you. Okay, now, if you could put anything into a time capsule that wouldn't be open for 25 years, what would it be and why?
It's a good question. I don't know, man.
Hmm.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, because I just noticed that on the news. A bunch of, I think preschool kids are putting COVID era stuff like masks and hand sanitizer and stuff like that into a time capsule, and it's going to be open 25 years.
That's interesting. I think that's short-term thinking, though, kids. No, I have no idea. Um, I would say I, don't know, I can't think of the exact book at the moment, but literature is something that is important,
Mhm.
and especially with who knows what our next 25 years are going to be like. Uh, I don't know how to. Yeah, I don't know. I would say some sort of literature, and maybe. I mean, is this anything? Like I could have access to anything?
Yes,
Just
anything.
something that like potentially like aliens would find, and I want to show humanity.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, if it's that sort of thinking, I would just put some great art in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
some sort of like three top Louvre museum pieces in there. Let's do that,
All right. Yeah.
and a good book.
Okay. Next question I have is, what song is more fun to play live, Ravenous or Coffin Nails?
It's a good question. I haven't thought about that record in a long time. Um, I think Coffin Nails.
Hmm.
I think it's more fun to play the like super uplifting feeling songs than it is to just play shredding songs. Personally,
Yeah. All right. Yeah, speaking of that, I discovered you guys through the song Ravenous in Guitar Hero,
Cool.
Warriors of Rock, and I was like, damn, this is cool. Are they like releasing music still?
And then we were like, nope.
Yeah, but then this popped up and I was like, oh, I recognize that band. I'd like to interview them.
Nice.
Right. Now, the final question that I ask all the artists I've interviewed, coming up on the 60 mark, I believe. Will you accept a challenge from me?
I mean, can I get a hint of what it's about before I say yes to that?
No, you can't. You just you have to take a chance.
Oh man, I'm not someone that likes to let people down, but let's do it.
Hurt, Nine Inch Nails, the Johnny Cash version, a cover of a song. I want you to cover as Atreyu the Johnny Cash version of Hurt by Nine Inch Nails, your style.
That's tough because Nine Inch Nails are one of my all-time favorite bands. And I
Okay,
would
which
really
one?
want to cover the original song. I would love to cover that though. That is a great idea.
Mhm.
That is a really good idea. It's a shame that we are about to put an album out and couldn't add that to it. That's a really good idea. I'm going to do my best to. Obviously, I'm one of five, so I have four other people that I got to, and we're a democracy in this band. But I love that idea personally.
All right.
I'm going to do this for you because I'm going to go to band practice in like an hour.
All right.
Remind me in 2 hours to ask about covering "Hurt" by Johnny
Okay.
Cash.
Okay. All right.
Done. I'll ask him.
Okay, so that's all the time we've got today. So thank you, Mark, for taking the time to talk with me here on the X.
It's Porter.
Okay, it
It's
says
a confusing thing. My parents named me Porter Marco McKnight. Growing up, they called me Mark for some reason. When I was 26, I'm like, Porter is a way better name than Mark. So anyone that was new, I introduced myself as Porter.
It's real. That's interesting because Wikipedia says Mark and the string package says Mark as well.
I know I've asked them to update that.
That's weird. I just bought
You
that
can
string
still call me
package.
Mark if you want, but I'm just letting you know.
It's all right.
History.
Porter, thanks for taking the time to join me here on the X.
Of course, man. Thanks for your time.
All right.